Scientists say the number of migratory birds in the Coorong have plummeted due to the River Murray flood. It's prompted urgent calls for better management of river flows and the Coorong to protect some of the rarest and most vulnerable species that are unique to the region. Claire Campbell reports.
It's a wetland of international importance near the Murray mouth, renowned for an abundance of bird life. But for ecologist David Payton, the latest outlook for the Coorong isn't good.
We're probably sitting at about a third of the numbers we counted last year, and that's probably more like 1/10 of what it should be. That's a direct result of the high water. It's not just those migratory shorebirds, a whole range of other birds are missing.
The River Murray flood is creating a haven for water birds upstream, and some birds that usually call the Coorong home are flocking to newly flooded inland wetlands. But others, like the vulnerable fairy tern, have nowhere else to go. Its usual nesting spots are flooded, and this is the only nest in the Coorong's South Lagoon that ecologists can find.
The water is very close. A change of direction of wind and storms or an increase in the water level will be enough to flood these.
The species has dwindled to about 300 birds in the Coorong. Some eggs are already underwater, and ecologists don't believe there'll be many, if any, chicks this year.
Very few of the birds using this Coorong are not declining, and this just adds another nail in their coffin.
Dr Payton says the freshening of the water due to the flood in the Ramsar-protected Coorong is also creating large swathes of algae, which could have been avoided if water flows during drier years were better managed.
So this is pretty disastrous if you're a migratory shorebird because you have no mudflats on which to forage. The birds are now limited to the fact that they've got to forage, if they're here, they've got to forage on the tops of this rather yucky-looking filamentous green algae.
But like any natural event, there is some good with the bad, and the higher water is helping some species thrive, like pelicans and swans. Estuarine ecologist Faith Coleman is monitoring aquatic life in a nearby creek.
So there's a heap of different seagrasses or angiosperm.
She says while this waterway is healthy, it's cut off from the Coorong's very sick and increasingly barren South Lagoon.
Previously, the entire vessel was filled with green growth. What we're really hoping is that with the fresher water out in the South Lagoon, we'll be able to get some of the plants and the propagation material from these plants flushing out into the South Lagoon.
But Dr Coleman says intervention is likely needed.
Unless you manage things can go septic very quickly down here.
Time to act before it's too late. Claire Campbell, ABC News, the Coorong.